Hello and welcome to this week's Business Bites, and this week I'm joined by the fabulous Karen Tems, who is the Director of the Business Network for Central and East Lancashire. How are you, Karen?
I'm very well, thank you, Lisa. And you?
Not too bad, thank you. Obviously, Karen, these are unprecedented times. I can't ever remember in my lifetime a time where we've been so restricted and locked up for our own safety, of course, but it's put a heck of a spin on businesses and how they operate. And I'm going to ask you a lot more about that. But just to start, and for the purpose of our listeners and watchers, can you just give us a little bit of background about Karen Tems and the Business Network and how it supports Lancashire businesses?
Oh, with pleasure. My background is in learning and development, and I've been working with businesses for over 30 years on maybe coaching skills or leadership development on one-to-one basis, as well as in group situations. And with my training business, I was a member at our Manchester group, the Business Network in Manchester. So I knew how successful it could be. I was a member there for 8 years, which doesn't sound a great deal, but when you think about, actually that means I renewed 7 times, which gives you an idea of how successful it was for me. And I have no doubt whatsoever that if I still had my training company, then I would still be a member there now. When I got the opportunity to open our Central and East Lancashire group, I threw myself at that opportunity. That was 10 years ago, and I've never looked back. I absolutely love it, and I think because I've been on both sides of the counter, I've been a member of a group, and I now run a group, I believe that that makes me best placed to help our member companies get the most out of the group. Our aim is simple, and that is to introduce senior decision makers in an environment that helps build those great business relationships. And boy, do we need those relationships in these, as you say, Lisa, unprecedented times.
Yes, right now more important than ever. And I think it's so many businesses have had so many challenges, and your network is very different. Having experienced it myself, it is very different. It is very relaxed. We get to enjoy lunch and sit down, and actually time isn't restricted in terms of conversation. You do end up getting lots of conversation, and I guess, as you said, being on the receiving end of that as well as the delivering end of that, you kind of know what members would expect to get from the network.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I believe that my key role, not only in facilitating what used to be a face-to-face monthly event, but more of that later, is getting to know all of our members, as indeed you do with Lancashire, because the more you know about the business, then again, you're in a great place to help them spot opportunities and put businesses together to either collaborate or work with each other.
And you must be so fortunate, because I know the Business Network for Central and East Lancashire, I mean, you're pushing 130, 140 members, and they must come from such a range of sectors.
Absolutely. We don't have a single sector status. We keep industry sectors to around 5% of the membership total to achieve balance. That means that actually if we have 2 businesses in the digital creative arena, for example, may offer slightly different service to potential clients, and they may overlap, but that gives them a stronger base to work with larger organisations, which is great. I have to say that the makeup of our members is quite interesting. There's 10% of our businesses are owned and managed businesses, right. And the other 90% stretch from small businesses to about 10, 15 members of the team, right up to in the hundreds. So it's a fabulous mix, not only of industry sectors, but size of businesses as well.
Definitely. I mean, there are more or less every sector represented in that room, and it's wonderful to see just how many relationships they do manage to build between them. Yes. you know, the network itself just offers a wonderful opportunity, and only once a month as well, which isn't too time consuming on somebody's diary, when it's a few hours once a month. And actually that can be a really fruitful meeting when you leave with business leaders and decision makers. What I want to check with you, Karen, is obviously your particular industry was hugely affected by the pandemic and lockdown. It's very difficult because the one thing that has been restricted is that ability to meet, and particularly in large groups. How have you, as a business owner, and your members at the network responded to that?
Our March event was at Stanley House, and we had 123 member companies represented there. And on the 23rd of March, we were advised, forget all of that. So, yeah, how do you go from there? I have to say that on the 11th of March, which was our event, I had never heard of Zoom. I now know Zoom really, really well. After a week of sulking and licking my wounds, I simply put a message out to our members saying, what do you want from me? How do you want it? And what next? And I was absolutely delighted, Lisa, you were there as well, that members came online and said, look, what we do need to do is stay close together, because we're all a little bit scared at the minute and we don't know what's going to happen. And so my brief from our members was, stay in touch, and the rest is up to you, Karen. And over the 5, 6, 7 weeks, it has evolved. We now meet weekly on Zoom for a weekly, what we call our weekly drop-in. It's the members only. Importantly, it's 45 minutes. The first 20 minutes is a seminar. We've got so much talent in our group. I've invited people who can offer their expertise to our group about the current situation, not when life is back to normal, because who knows what that will look like. They have been hugely beneficial, and we have restarted our our monthly events on an online basis, closely matching the format of a traditional event. And they're going from strength to strength. So it just goes to show you, and I know this from my training background, but of course when it happens to you, that's theory and this is now and this is real. We are such a resilient lot, and we dig deep.
But I think, Karen, and sorry to interrupt you there, but I think you, in the business network, what you've done it continuously for 10 years, and congratulations on your anniversary this year. Fantastic job. But you've continued to add such value to those businesses. I don't think they questioned for a second that it wasn't worth the value of continuing, even though those physical meetings couldn't happen. And I think, you know, you have got masses of support, and we've gone from meeting monthly to weekly, which is, you know, more value for everybody. Yeah. What we've still managed to do, ironically, is structure those meetings online in such a way that people are still getting the value out of it that they would have done with a physical meeting, aside from lunch.
Yes, you have to bring your own.
We'll have to get
so much.
We'll have to get a member doing the catering for
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
I'm really pleased how it's continued to develop despite lockdown, because a lot of industries and a lot of other networking groups, and of course a lot have moved online, but it is very difficult to get that balance. And you talked earlier about having such rich members in the network, and of course I appreciate how valuable it is to build such a brilliant and huge network around you, because when you do hit times like this, having those people to call on and their expertise, and I know you've used HM Network for getting the meetings up and running, you're surrounded by some great businesses there.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. What a place to be there. You know, with all of our members, we've got every aspect of business advice that you could possibly ever want. And our members, as are you, Lisa, are so generous in sharing their expertise, sharing their contacts. So It's been a learning for everybody, and interesting how people are on the, with my training hat on, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross developed this grief cycle, which has been watered down over the years by, and adapted, should I say, by various other academics. But people do go through denial and anger and then bargaining, and then it hits a depression. And sometimes you slip back, but you can go forward as well. And when you get to acceptance, wonderful things happen. But it doesn't mean to say that once you are at acceptance, you can't slip back. But every time you come back up, you learn something new. And when you've got the support of all of these local businesses to help you through that, it's priceless.
Yes, it definitely is. And I can totally relate to what you're referring to there, Karen. I kind of, with our business, it's an online platform, so we were able to continue and support other people as well through that. And that was a wonderful feeling. So whilst everybody was pulling their hair out, particularly in my house, I was kind of feeling all chuffed and thinking, oh, I'm really busy, my days are structured, going quickly, I'm not feeling the impact at all. And then it was about 2 weeks ago, I had a really rotten down day, and I just couldn't understand why I was feeling that way, because everything was okay. I still had my structure. And I think you're right, it just hits everybody at some stage.
Of course it does, yeah.
The next day, I kind of got up and thought, what was yesterday about? And it was a whole new thing, and I was feeling excited about finding more opportunities to reach out, and these podcasts being one of them. So thank you for joining us. And
you're a great example of, actually, when your back is against the wall, you come up with some of your better ideas.
Yeah,
we all do. Yeah. It's just we don't like being with our back against the wall too often.
No, not at all.
Once in a lifetime, please.
You talk, Karen, about being from a learning and development background. I'm interested if you've used any of your time, or if you do use any of your time, to continuously improve when you are pretty much, am I able to say, a perfectionist and a master of what you do anyway?
I'm perfect at being a work in progress, and that's where I like to be. You can always learn, and our members, again, give me so much learning on an ongoing basis. But yes, I actively follow my own advice that I used to give other people, and look at what's out there. You don't have to take it all on board. Take on board the bits that work for you, drop the rest. And play with it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, go back and just review. So yeah, you've got to keep yourself resourceful.
Definitely.
You've only got yourself.
So one day, Karen, you're going to decide enough is enough, and it's time to put my little feet up and enjoy some sunshine and some holidays when we can finally get back to that. What advice would you give to somebody that might take over from you, that might be wanting to step into a similar career path?
Be curious, ask questions, enjoy the people who you meet, and do your very best for them.
Yes.
I think listening is one of the key skills of a business facilitator.
I'm learning that skill. I'm trying my very best. My mouth runs away with me occasionally.
that's enthusiasm, that's allowed.
Who's been most influential to you, Karen, during your career?
I've always had business gurus, and they haven't always been an actual person. I sort of developed my own. If I look at my group of girlfriends who I grew up with, I've got a practical guru, I've got a creative guru, and I think, for example, if I were Jill, what would she do now if it needs something absolutely practical? If I think, right, well, I need to be a little bit more creative now. If I was Deb, how would I do that? So actually, it's a whole host of people. In the business network, when I have a one-to-one with one of our members, I come away and think, wow. And I can just channel their
energy.
Certainly channel their energy, but also position myself. Okay, so if I put that hat on now, I could think completely differently outside of my own head. So I tap into everybody without them knowing.
that must be a skill you've acquired, because I'm not sure everybody's capable of that, but
everybody's capable of doing it. They just need to give themselves time to play with it and see where it goes.
what does the future look like, Karen?
Right now, it looks really exciting because I've learned so much about online communication, and certainly that is something that will form part of the future when we get back to our face-to-face. So old-fashioned face-to-face. I can't wait to have a hug with our members, just to see them in the flesh. But online communication will be key. Certainly, it's a cost and time saving. So I think I will be encouraging all of our members to work smarter, not harder. Just remember why you're in business in the first place. What does it for you? What makes you tick? And I think one of the things that we will all take from this is families are so important, and it's very easy when we're all being busy fools to forget the anchor that you have at home.
Absolutely.
And that's been a blessing.
And the reason why we do what we do in the first place.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Well, Karen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us this week. How do people get in touch with you?
Oh, that's easy. Email karen@business-network.co.uk. Just Google Karen Tems and all of my details will come up, and I'll be delighted to have a chat.
Wonderful. Well, let's see if we can get some more guests joining us at the next Business Network.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Take care, Karen.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.